Welcome to The Newsworthy. All the day's news in less than 10 minutes. Fast, fair, fun, and on the go. Thank you so much for listening. Today, the latest Supreme Court ruling you should know about. Who President Trump disinvited to the White House. And another breast cancer breakthrough. Plus, Twitter and Microsoft's latest moves and Apple's big changes to the iPhone. All that and much more in less than 10 minutes. I'm Erica Mandy. Today is Tuesday, June 5th. You ready? Let's do this. There's another big deal decision from the U.S. Supreme Court. This one is about a Colorado baker who refused to make a wedding cake for a same-sex couple back in 2012. The couple said their civil rights were violated, that they were illegally discriminated against. The baker said the First Amendment gave him the right to refuse because of his religious beliefs. Well, this week, the baker was let off the hook. He won the case with the Supreme Court's 7-2 ruling. The New York Times reports the justices felt there was hostility toward the baker's religion. But also of note, the justices went out of their way to say future decisions need to be made with tolerance on all sides, including protections for gay rights. The opinion even said this same outcome in this case may not apply to every similar court case. It's a big night for primaries. Vox calls it one of the most crowded primary days of the year, with 8 states voting and key races in 5 of them, including California. And Cali is not only big, it's also unique. Instead of choosing a top candidate for each party, like in most states, all candidates run against each other, and they're all on the ballot for everyone. So, California sends the top 2 candidates to the general election, whether or not they're all Democrat, Republican, or something else. Vox says it's high stakes for Democrats, at least in a blue state like California. Because there are so many Democratic candidates this year, there's a chance the votes will be spread out among all of them, and 2 Republican candidates could end up as the top 2. All of this could have a big effect on the final outcomes in November, so stay tuned. And of course, I'm linking to more info on all of tonight's races in several states in today's show notes. Just go to thenewsworthy.com. Former President Bill Clinton wrote a book, but not the type you might expect. It's a political thriller, a fiction novel. CBS News says Bill Clinton teamed up with the best-selling author James Patterson to write the book called The President is Missing. It's written in the perspective of the president. While he's been promoting that book, he's also faced some questions about his real-life past, like, would you have done anything differently now in light of the Me Too movement? Clinton said no. He said on the Today Show that he would have dealt with the accusations in the same way he did 20 years ago. Of course, we're talking about his affair with White House intern Monica Lewinsky, who he said he still has not apologized to. The Philadelphia Eagles are officially uninvited to the White House. The team was expected to make the visit today in celebration of its Super Bowl win back in February, but not anymore. Although CBS Sports reports some players had said earlier they would not go anyway. The White House released a statement last night about it and referenced the whole national anthem debate. The statement said since the team disagrees with its president, President Trump will hold a different type of ceremony, one that will play the national anthem, quote, loudly and proudly, and it will celebrate America. Of course, the statement is referencing the national debate about players who kneeled during the national anthem before games. Serena Williams says she's beyond disappointed. She's had to drop out of the French Open. ESPN reports it's all because of an injury to her chest muscle. She isn't able to serve. That's a big deal. It was her first major tennis tournament since she gave birth and dealt with complications last September. She was having a great comeback, too. But now she says she's trying to stay positive and seeing all the specialists she can to try to be ready for the next one. There are still several more stories to know today, but I want to take a quick moment to say thank you to our sponsor, Day in the Life podcast. This podcast steps into the daily life of a different guest each week, and there's something for everyone. There are interviews with a counterterrorism expert, a former NFL coach, and even the owner of a social media pet influencer.
It wasn't until she had around 10,000 followers that I thought maybe I should get serious about this.
Find the episode that most interests you at dayinthelifepodcast.com or search Day in the Life wherever you listen to podcasts. Now, let's get back to the news. It's the second breast cancer breakthrough reported this week. This one isn't as large of a study as we talked about yesterday, but the results are pretty incredible. Doctors say for the first time, a woman was cured of an advanced form of breast cancer using her own immune system. Before this work, she was told she only had 3 years to live. Now, she's been cancer-free for 2 years. NPR reports doctors at the U.S. National Cancer Institute looked at the patient's own DNA in a sample of the cancer. Then they figured out how to use her own immune system cells to tackle it. It seems to have worked. But keep in mind, that's only one patient so far. It has not worked for 2 others. So there's still a lot more research to do. Twitter is joining the S&P 500, and the stock likes it. The S&P 500 is a pretty prestigious place for a company to be. It measures the performance of 500 of the largest companies traded in the U.S., and now Twitter is part of that. It took the place of the seed company Monsanto, which was just bought by Bayer. Microsoft just made a major deal and bought GitHub for $7.5 billion in stock. It means one of the world's largest software companies, Microsoft, is coming together with one of the world's largest software development platforms, GitHub. Business Insider says more than 24 million developers use GitHub to host code that ends up powering software projects. Microsoft is actually one of the biggest contributors on GitHub already. All right, here are a few of the highlights from the keynote speech at Apple's annual developers conference yesterday. First, a bunch of updates to its newest iPhone operating system. TechCrunch reports the new iOS 12 will include group FaceTime, so you can video chat with up to 32 people all at once. There's also a new animated emoji called a Memoji that you can set up to look just like you, kind of like a Bitmoji. Also, improvements to the AI assistant Siri, like custom commands. The company also came through with what was reported before, a way to track how much time you're actually spending on your phone, including certain apps. And you can even set up an alert to tell you when it's time to put the phone down. If Prince Harry and Meghan Markle have a daughter, she won't inherit the same title as her mom. People reports only a son would. The Queen gave Harry and Meghan the titles of Duke and Duchess of Sussex when they got married last month. But dukedom can only be inherited by boys. Daughters would be called lady. And yes, this is the case even though Harry and Meghan both say they're feminists. That said, some changes have already been made in recent years. Since 2013, only birth order, not gender, determines who will become king or queen of the UK. And that's it. Thanks so much again for listening. And a special thanks to Isabel, who shared the newsworthy on Facebook. She said, quote, "Love waking up in the morning and listening to today's news in less than 10 minutes. I never feel like I missed out on what's going on in the world." I love to see that positive feedback and appreciate those of you who are helping us spread the word about the newsworthy. So thank you. Of course, if you want to read more about any of the news stories mentioned in today's episode, just head on over to thenewsworthy.com. From the homepage, click episodes and then find today's date. The Newsworthy is ready for you to listen every weekday by 4 in the morning Eastern Time, so we will chat again tomorrow. Have a great day.